omnipotent flaming pioneer over the heavenly world which turns towards light. Come crowding down the amber stairs of birth, forerunners of a divine multitude. Out of the paths of the morning stars they came into the little home of mortal life.
Good morning. So we're reading on page 343. We're come to the conclusion of the first part of Savitri. It's a kind of climax where Aswapati has the vision of the Divine Mother. More than a vision, she encompasses his form. He sees her within and penetrating his very being. And he asks her to descend onto the earth, and she says, no, earth is not ready, that we have to wait for earth to develop, to come to fruition. In the meantime, you go to the earth, help in its uplifting. My light shall be in thee, my strength, thy force. Let not the impatient Titan drive thy heart. Ask not the imperfect fruit, the partial prize. Only one boon to greaten thy spirit demand. Only one joy to raise thy kind desire. Above blind fate and the antagonist powers, moveless there stands a high, unchanging will. To its omnipotence leave thy work's result. All things shall change in God's transfiguring hour. But Aswapati doesn't relent with that. He cries out to her, "How shall I rest content with mortal days and the dull measure of terrestrial things? I who have seen behind the cosmic mask the glory and the beauty of thy face. Hard is the doom to which thou bindest thy sons. How long shall our spirits battle with the night and bear defeat in the brute yoke of death? We who are vessels of a deathless force and builders of the Godhead of the race." Ever the centuries and millenniums pass. Where in the grayness is thy coming's ray? Where is the thunder of thy victory's wings? Only we hear the feet of passing gods. And he continues and sees the future divine man to come. He says, "I know there shall inform the inconscient cells at one with nature and swept with ecstasy from invisible founts, a God come down and greater by the fall." And then we read through the next part of this, but we just read it through once, and then I would like to read again, and then we can maybe comment a little on it. So from about halfway down on 343, a giant dance of Shiva tore the past. And Ruth, would you like to read?
A giant dance of Shiva tore the past. There was a thunder as the whirls of forward night. I saw the omnipotent flaming pioneers over the heavenly verge that turns towards life, come crowding down the amber stairs of birth, forerunners of a divine multitude. Out of the paths of the morning star they came, into the little room of mortal life. I saw them cross the twilight of the age, the sun-eyed children of a marvelous dawn, the great creators with wide brows of calm, the massive barrier breakers of the world, the wrestlers with destiny in her list of will, the laborers in the quarries of the gods, the messengers of the incommunicable, the architects of immortality.
Thank you. Let's pause there. We'll pause. Can reread. So this is still Asupati speaking, he has this vision of the future. He sees this giant dance of Shiva toward the past. So he sees a great destruction on earth. Earth was o'errun with fire and the roar of death. Clamoring to slay a world his hunger had made. There was a clangor of destruction's wings. The Titan's battle cry was in my ears. Alarm and rumor shook the armored night. So for me, this brings up, in my mind, the idea of the Second World War, where there was this huge destruction, the Titan's battle cry. The Sri Aurobindo and Mother have said that that war was between the forces of the divine and the Titans, the Lord of falsehood. And they were fighting against him. And it could have led to a destruction of the entire world, dragging humanity back thousands of years. And Sri Aurobindo said it could have even meant the failure of the race, like others in the past had failed. But in that same time, this new creation is coming, being born. So I saw the omnipotence flaming pioneers over the heavenly verge which turns towards life, come crowding down the amber stairs of birth. Forerunners of a divine multitude, out of the paths of the morning star they came into the little room of mortal life. It's as if he sees the new souls coming down into birth, into the world, perhaps from a higher realm of the supermind. I saw them cross the twilight of an age. So they're coming into the dawn of the new age, out of the paths of the morning star. The morning star is Venus, which we can see over the horizon in the early morning, a bright star. They're crossing the twilight of an age, a new age on earth. Forerunners of a divine multitude, a new divine man coming into birth. The sun-eyed children of a marvelous dawn, the great creators with wide brows of calm, the massive barrier breakers of the world, and wrestlers with destiny in her lists of will. Lists are like a drawn out square in which wrestlers will fight. They have to stay within the boundaries of those lines. But here they're wrestlers with destiny in her list of will. The laborers in the quarries of the gods, the messengers of the incommunicable, the architects of immortality. So they're the new creators, establishing a new life on earth, embodying something of the divine here. So we'll continue. Would you like to read, Madam? Yes.
Into the fallen human sphere there came faces that wore the immortal's glory still, voices that communed still with the thoughts of God, bodies made beautiful by the Spirit's light, carrying the magic word, the mystic fire, carrying the Dionysian cup of joy, approaching eyes of a diviner man, lips chanting an unknown anthem of the soul, feet echoing in the corridors of time. High priests of wisdom, sweetness, might and bliss, discoverers of beauties, sunlit ways, and swimmers of love's laughing fiery bloods, and dancers within rapture's golden doors. Their tread one day shall change the suffering earth and justify the light on nature's face. Although fate lingers in the height beyond, and the work seems vain on which our heart's force was spent, all shall be done for which our pain was born.
Thank you. Let's pause. So these new souls that are forerunners of a divine multitude come into the fallen human sphere. Earth still in the grip of falsehood. But they're carrying something new, a new energy. Faces that wore the immortal's glory still, voices that commune still with the thoughts of God, bodies made beautiful by the Spirit's light, carrying the magic word, the mystic fire. That mystic fire is that fire of aspiration, of Agni, reaching upwards towards the heavens, towards the divine. Carrying the Dionysian cup of joy. Dionysian, Greek god, representing the divine bliss. Approaching eyes of a diviner man, a new humanity, the Superman Sri Aurobindo has described. Lips chanting an unknown anthem of the soul, feet echoing in the corridors of time. And then again he describes, like in the earlier section, different roles that these forerunners play in the earth. Some are discoverers of beauty's sunlit ways, and some are swimmers of love's laughing fiery floods, and some are dancers within rapture's golden doors. Their tread one day shall change the suffering earth and justify the light on nature's face. All the difficulties that mankind has come through in its long evolution, they shall justify. And then he says, although fate lingers in the high beyond, and the work seems vain on which our heart's force was spent, all shall be done, for which our pain was born. All that shall be justified when this new creation comes. So we'll continue. Would you like to read?
Even as of old man came behind the beast, this high divine successor surely shall come behind man's inefficient mortal pace, behind his vain labor, sweat and blood and tears. He shall know what mortal mind barely durst think. He shall do what the heart of the mortal could not dare. Inheritor of the toil of human time, he shall take on him the burden of the gods. All heavenly light shall visit the earth's thoughts. The might of heaven shall fortify earthly hearts. Earth's deeds shall touch the superhuman's height. Earth's seeing widen into the infinite. Heavy, unchanged ways still the imperfect world. The splendid youth of time has passed and failed. Heavy and long are the years our labor counts, and still the seals are firm upon man's soul, and weary is the ancient mother's heart.
Thank you. So while Asupati sees that this new divine race shall come, he also sees that it's still in the beyond. It's not here yet. Fate lingers in the high beyond. But yet all shall be done for which our pain was born. And then again he presents his vision of what is to come. Even as of old man came behind the beast, this high divine successor surely shall come behind man's inefficient mortal pace, behind his vain labor, sweat and blood and tears. He shall know what mortal mind barely durst think. Durst is just another form of dare. He shall do what the heart of the mortal could not dare. Inheritor of the toil of human time. So he builds upon all that struggle of human life. He inherits that. And he shall take on him the burden of the gods. He also takes on the burden of creation, developing the new forms. And perhaps the difficulty of creating. All heavenly light shall visit the earth's thoughts. Sri Aurobindo speaks about the mind of light, a mind illuminated with the supramental light. The might of heaven shall fortify earth's hearts, shall support and make it strong. Earth's deeds shall touch the superhuman's height. Earth seeing widen into the infinite. And then again, he reiterates this heavy, unchanged waves, still the imperfect earth. The splendid youth of time has passed and failed. Heavy and long are the years our labor counts, and still the seals are firm upon man's soul, and weary is the ancient mother's heart. When will this new creation come? We've waited long enough. So we'll continue. Mushomi.
O truth defended in thy secret sun, voice of her mighty musings in shut heavens, on things withdrawn within her luminous depths. O wisdom splendor, mother of the universe, creatrix the eternal's artist bride, linger not long with thy transmuting hand, praised vainly on the golden bar of time, as if time dare not open its heart to God. O radiant fountain of the world's delight, world free and unattainable above, O bliss who ever dwellest deep hid within, while men seek thee outside and never find, mystery and muse with hierarchic tongue, incarnate the white passion of thy force, mission to art some living form of thee. One moment filled with thy eternity. Let thy infinity in one body live. All knowledge wrap one mind in seas of light. All love throb single in one human heart. Immortal, treading the earth with mortal feet. All heaven's beauty crowd in earthly limbs. Omnipotence girdle with the power of God. Movements and moments of a mortal will, pack with the eternal might one human hour, and with one gesture change all future time. Let a great word be spoken from the heights, and one great act unlock the doors of fate.
Thank you. So Aswapati implores the Divine Mother to come. O truth, defended in thy secret Son, as if she's withdrawn high above in this bright light, refusing to come down. Voice of her mighty musings in shut heavens, as if the heavens are shut to earth, on things withdrawn within her luminous depths. O wisdom splendor, Mother of the universe, Creatrix, the Eternal's artist bride. She's the spouse of the Divine Lord. She's the artist bride, the creator. Creatrix, but also artist. She creates in this artistic way. Linger not long with thy transmuting hand, pressed vainly on one golden bar of time, as if time dare not open its heart to God. Humankind has been waiting, suffering for the light to come. The avatars have come and gone, and still the earth remains in the grip of the darkness. O radiant fountain of the world's delight, world free and unattainable above, O bliss, whoever dwellest deep hid within, while men seek thee outside and never find. He describes her different qualities: radiant fountain of the world's delight, bliss, whoever dwellest deep hid within. And then mystery and muse with hieratic tongue, as if she can interpret, articulate the divine mystery to us. And then incarnate the white passion of thy force. She also carries the divine force. Mission to earth, some living form of thee. He's asking her to incarnate on earth in a human body. One moment filled with thy eternity. Let thy infinity in one body live. All knowledge wrap one mind in seas of light. All love throb single in one human heart. He's asking her to bring her infinity down into one body, her omniscience, all knowledge, wrap one mind in the seas of light, and all love, that all containing divine love, throb in one human heart. Immortal, treading the earth with mortal feet, all heaven's beauty crowd in earthly limbs. Omnipotence, all power, girdle with the power of God, movements and moments of a mortal will. Fill a human will with that omnipotence of God. Pack with the eternal might one human hour, and with one gesture change all future time. Let a great word be spoken from the heights, and one great act unlock the doors of fate. Yeah, the Asapati is calling the Divine Mother down. Here's the great word and the great act on February 29, 1956. She lifted up this great golden hammer and smashed the golden door open, and the supramental light descended upon the earth. It's interesting how it happens in a moment in time. So all the ages lead up to it, but then it happens. The transformation comes, or the door is open. The what? Hmm? I think we'll have to see. I don't. Yeah. It's not clear because it's a great power for creation, for healing, for transformation, and for destruction. But we're at that time where there is this destruction of the old and the creation of the new. So it may be an instrument for that. Yeah, they were in the middle of that great destruction. Hmm. 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 To listen to our bodies, to see. Oh. Oh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the idea was to bring that supramental force and light into the body, where it could then become a stable presence in us and in the world. When it's moving in the mind, it's still unstable, it's unsettled. But when it comes into the body, then it stays. When it comes into the earth, into matter, then the work is done. So we'll continue. Would you like to read, sir?
His prayers sank down in the resisting night, oppressed by the thousand forces that deny, as if too weak to climb to the supreme, but there arose a wide, consenting voice. The spirit of beauty was revealed in sound, wooed by the greatnesses shall join in her. Beauty shall walk celestial on the earth, delight shall sleep in the cloud net of her hair, and in her body, as on his homing tree, immortal love shall beat his glorious wings, a music of graceless things shall wave her charm. The harps of the perfect shall attune her voice, the streams of heaven shall murmur in her laugh, her lips shall be the honeycombs of God, her limbs his golden jars of ecstasy, her breasts the rapture flowers of paradise. She shall bear wisdom in her voiceless bosom, strength shall be with her like a conqueror's sword, and from her eyes the eternal's bliss shall gaze. A seed shall be sown in death's tremendous hour, a branch of heaven transplant to human soil. Nature shall overleap her mortal step, fate shall be changed by an unchanging will.
So Aswapati's prayer sank down in the resisting night, oppressed by the 1,000 forces that deny, as if too weak to climb to the supreme. Even his powerful voice is resisted by the darkness of the world, by the 1,000 forces that deny. But the Divine Mother hears and responds. The spirit of beauty was revealed in sound. Light floated round the marvelous vision's brow, and on her lips the immortal's joy took shape. A few days ago, I recorded a talk here, and I talked about some of the different forms of Ananda. There are many different forms that it takes in the different parts and planes of the being, different aspects of Ananda. And one of them I mentioned, these were described in the Record of Yoga. And in the glossary to the Record of Yoga, there's a whole list of different kinds of Ananda. And one was Ananda Vani, the beatific voice, the voice that expresses this Ananda. And I also talked about a kind of a laughter. There's another type of Ananda. Not sure if I remember the exact Sanskrit term for it, but it's a Ananda of laughter. Hasya something. Hasya Ananda. So further down it says, the streams of heaven shall murmur in her laugh. But the Divine Mother hears Aswapati's cry. And she says, one shall descend and break the iron law, change nature's doom by the lone spirit's power. And it reminds us of the Divine Mother here, alone after Sri Aurobindo had left his body already, still facing this enormous task that had to be done to bring the supramental light onto the earth. And so she worked alone for another 6 years until the supramental door was broken. And then she describes what this incarnated Divine Mother shall be like. A limitless mind that can contain the world, a sweet and violent heart of ardent calms, moved by the passions of the gods, shall come. All mights and greatnesses shall join in her. Beauty shall walk celestial on the earth. Delight shall sleep in the cloud net of her hair. and in her body as on his homing tree, immortal love shall beat his glorious wings. All these beautiful characteristics the Divine Mother also embodied in her life. A music of griefless things shall weave her charm. The harps of the perfect shall attune her voice. The streams of heaven shall murmur in her laugh. She also had this wonderful laugh she expressed sometimes. Her lips shall be the honeycombs of God, her limbs his golden jars of ecstasy, her breasts the rapture flowers of paradise. And again, here we have these characteristics of the Mother. She shall bear wisdom in her voiceless bosom. Strength shall be with her like a conqueror's sword, and from her eyes the eternal's bliss shall gaze. A seed shall be sown in death's tremendous hour. In that hour of the dance of Shiva, a branch of heaven transplant to human soil. Nature shall overleap her mortal step. Fate shall be changed by an unchanging will. Will we continue? You read?
As a flame disappears in endless light, immortally extinguished in its source, vanished the splendor and was stilled the world. An echo of delight that once was close, the harmony journeyed towards some distant hush, a music failing in the ear of trance, a cadence called by distant cadences, a voice that trembled into strains withdrawn. Her form retreated from the longing earth, forsaking nearness to the abundant sense, ascending to her unattainable home, lone, brilliant, vacant lay the inner fields. All was unfilled, inordinate spirit space, indifferent, waste, a desert of bright peace. Then a line moved on, the far edge of calm, the warm lived, sentient, soft terrestrial wave, a quick and many murmured moan and laugh, came gliding in upon white feet of sound. Unlocked was the deep glory of silence, heard, the absolute, unmoving stillness, surrendered to the breath of mortal air, dissolving boundlessly the heavens of trance, coalesced to waking mind. Eternity cast down its incommunicable lids over its solitudes remote from ken, behind the voiceless mystery of sleep. The grandiose respite failed, the wide release.
Thank you. Let's pause. So after the Divine Mother's statement, declaration that she shall come, descend upon earth in a human body, her voice, her being, again withdraws as a flame disappears in endless light, immortally extinguished in its source, vanished the splendor, and was stilled the word. An echo of delight that once was close, the harmony journeyed toward some distant hush, a music failing in the ear of trance, a cadence called by distant cadences, a voice that trembled into strains withdrawn. Her voice draws back again into the silence. Her form retreated from the longing earth, forsaking nearness to the abandoned sense, ascending to her unattainable home. And then it shifts, and now he speaks of Aswapati. Lone, brilliant, vacant, lay the inner fields. All was unfilled inordinate spirit space, indifferent, waste, a desert of bright peace. His consciousness becomes silent, quiet. Then a line moved on the far edge of calm, the warm-lipped, sentient, soft, terrestrial wave. A quick and many-murmured moan and laugh came gliding in upon white feet of sound. The sounds of the earth consciousness begin to return. Unlocked was the deep glory of silence heart, the absolute unmoving stillnesses surrendered to the breath of mortal air. Dissolving boundlessly the heavens of trance, collapsed to waking mind. The silent consciousness comes back to the waking mind. Eternity casts down its incommunicable lids over its solitudes, remote from ken, behind the voiceless mystery of sleep. The eternal consciousness withdraws behind the closed lids, behind closed eyes, over its solitudes, remote, behind the voiceless mystery of sleep. The grandiose respite failed, the wide release. It's coming back into the mortal consciousness again, the earthly consciousness. Respite is a temporary rest or release. We'll continue. Margaret, could you come down, please, and give the microphone? Down, please, to Margaret.
Across the light of fast receding plains that fled from him as from a falling star, compelled to fill its human house in time, his soul drew back into the speed and noise of the vast busyness of created things, a chariot of the marvels of the heavens, broad-based to bear the gods on fiery wheels. Flaming, he swept through the spiritual gates. The mortal stir received him in its midst. Once more he moved amid material scenes, lifted by intimations from the heights, and in the pauses of the building brain, touched by the thoughts that skim the fathomless surge of nature and wing back to hidden shores. The eternal seeker in the aeonic field, besieged by the intolerant press of hours, again was strong for great swift-footed deeds. Awake beneath the ignorant vault of night, he saw the unnumbered people of the stars and heard the questioning of the unsatisfied flood, and toiled with the form maker measuring mind, a wanderer from the occult invisible suns, accomplishing the fate of transient things, a god in the figure of the arisen beast. He raised his brow of conquest to the heavens, establishing the empire of the soul on matter and its bounded universe as on a solid rock in infinite seas. The Lord of Life resumed his mighty rounds in the scant field of the ambiguous globe.
Thank you.
End of Book 3.
So this again describes Aswapati returning to his earthly consciousness. It's as if he's like a falling star descending across the light of fast receding plains that fled from him as from a falling star, compelled to fill its human house in time. His soul drew back into the speed and noise of the vast business of created things, coming back into the world, the vast business of life. And then it describes him coming as a chariot of the marvels of the heavens, broad-based to bear the gods on fiery wheels. Flaming, he swept through the spiritual gates. As if he's coming down on a chariot. The mortal stir received him in its midst. Once more he moved amid material scenes, lifted by intimations from the heights, and in the pauses of the building brain, touched by the thoughts that skim the fathomless surge of nature and wing back to hidden shores. He brings back with him something of the heavens from which he's falling. He's lifted by intimations from the heights. And in the pauses of his brain, of his thinking, he's touched by the thoughts that skim the fathomless surge. He's touched by these higher thoughts from heaven. And wing back to hidden shores. Sometimes he flies back to those hidden shores. The eternal seeker in the eonic field, besieged by the intolerant press of ours, again was strong for great swift-footed deeds. He resumes his actions on earth as king. He's awake beneath the ignorant vault of night. He saw the unnumbered people of the stars and heard the questioning of the unsatisfied flood, and toiled with the form maker, measuring mind. Again, he resumes the use of this toiling mind, measuring mind that limits things, orders the world. A wanderer from the occult invisible suns, accomplishing the fate of transient things. A god in the figure of the arisen beast. He raised his brow of conquest to the heavens, establishing the empire of the soul on matter and its bounded universe as on a solid rock in infinite seas. He's also establishing that consciousness to which he's soared, basing it strongly in matter. as on a solid rock in infinite seas. The Lord of life resumed his mighty rounds in the scant fields of the ambiguous globe. Yeah, he's the Lord of the horse. Aswa is the horse, the life energy. So he is that Lord of tapasya, he also calls him, of will, of strength. He's the forerunner, leading the cycles of earth in its evolution forwards towards the divine fulfillment. So that will for realization is essential in that. Of course, in the end, he calls to the Divine Mother for her force, who comes and envelops and supports and fortifies his. But to reach that point, he had to use his will. This whole passage that we just read of the Divine Mother kind of receding back into the heights, and Aswapati falling back into the limits of earth, into the earth consciousness, repeats in a way something that came at the very beginning of this book, when the Divine Mother, the Divine Light, first kind of descends and then again recedes. So I thought I'd just read that again, and we can kind of see how these themes, these rhythms are there in Savitri. Here we have at the very beginning of the book and at the end of book one, or of part one. Let's start at page 4. Just at the middle. Once more a tread perturbed the vacant vase. Infinity's center, a face of rapturous calm, parted the eternal lids that open heaven. A form from far beatitudes seemed to near, ambassadress twixt eternity and change. The omniscient goddess leaned across the breadths that wrapped the faded journeyings of the stars, and saw the spaces ready for her feet. Once she half looked behind her for her veiled son, then thoughtful, went to her immortal work. Earth felt the imperishable's passage close. The waking ear of nature heard her steps, and wideness turned to her its limitless eye, and scattered on sealed depths, her luminous smile kindled to fire the silence of the worlds. All grew a consecration and a rite. Air was a vibrant link between earth and heaven, the wide-winged hymn of a great priestly wind arose and failed upon the altar hills. The high boughs prayed in a revealing sky. Here, where our half-lit ignorance skirts the gulfs, on the dumb bosom of the ambiguous earth, here where one knows not even the step in front, and truth has her throne on the shadowy back of doubt, on this anguished and precarious field of toil, outspread beneath some large, indifferent gaze, impartial witness of our joy and bale, our prostrate soil bore the awakening ray. Here too the vision and prophetic gleam lit into miracles, common, meaningless shapes. Then the divine afflatus, spent, withdrew, unwanted, fading from the mortal's range. A sacred yearning lingered in its trace, the worship of a presence and a power too perfect to be held by death-bound hearts, the prescience of a marvelous birth to come. Only a little the godlight can stay, spiritual beauty illumining human sight, lines with its passion and mystery matter's mask, and squanders eternity on a beat of time. As when a soul draws near the sill of birth, adjoining mortal time to timelessness, a spark of deity lost in matter's crypt, its luster vanishes in the inconscient plains. That transitory glow of magic fire, so now dissolved in bright accustomed air. The message ceased and waned the messenger. The single call, the uncompanioned power, drew back into some far-off secret world. The hue and marvel of the supernal beam, she looked no more on our mortality. The excess of beauty natural to God-kind could not uphold its claim on time-born eyes, too mystic real for space tenancy. Her body of glory was expunged from heaven. The rarity and wonder lived no more. There was the common light of earthly day, affranchised from the respite of fatigue. Once more the rumor of the speed of life pursued the cycles of her blinded quest. All sprang to their unvarying daily acts. The thousand peoples of the soil and tree obeyed the unforeseeing instant's urge. And leader here with his uncertain mind, alone who stares at the future's covered face, man lifted up the burden of his fate. So there's some striking resemblances between the passages. So I think we stop there for today.
soul drew back into the speed of noise of the vast business of created things.